Hey guys, and welcome back to Mulberry Ranch Farm. It's Ashley here with you again, and today we are participating in a collaboration called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Thank you so much to Hidden Oaks Homestead for tagging us in this collaboration. We really appreciate it. If you guys haven't been able to go over and to visit Hidden Oaks Homestead, there's going to be a link up here to go ahead and take you over there. They've got a lot of really great informative videos. They've got goats, they garden, they're building up their homestead. It's really a lot of fun to watch. So go over there, let them know that Mulberry Branch sent you, and enjoy some of their videos. So the whole purpose of this collaboration is to kind of go over the good, the bad, and the ugly of the garden. But I think I'm going to go ahead and push towards my entire homestead, just because we do a whole lot more here. Our garden's actually a very small portion of the things that we do, though I do find it to be one of the most therapeutic spots on my property. Just watch a goat come flying off my deck. Good, gotta find the good. Some of my favorite flowers are zinnias because they come in so many different variations, and what I have planted here is just a small amount of the variations that I have. So one of the really good things about the zinnias that I love and I think are beautiful, they're great for my pollinators, and they've really taken off this year. I've never had them bloom this early. My daughter's birthday is at the end of August, and I usually have just enough to make a couple bouquets for her party at the end of August. It's not even August yet, guys. And I've got lots of zinnias. I've had them for about a month, so that's good. And behind me, I only started 5 of those plants. I bought 3, and the rest in here are all volunteers from last year. That's pretty good. Look how big those sunflowers are. Don't believe me how big they are? Just a sec. Yeah, they're pretty big this year. I've really been enjoying my sunflower jungle. I always plant mammoth sunflowers, but every year I've only been able to get them to about 7 to 8 feet, so they're not that big, but guys, they're huge. Huge! And then here's some of those zinnias I was talking about. What pollinator wouldn't want to come here? Look at the purple corn. If you guys have ever been with me on any of my other gardening videos about planting corn and yielding corn, getting any of my corn crop, this is a stinking miracle. I never get my corn to come in, so that's been really good this year in the garden. And just like there are good things in the garden, there are also some bad things. Some things that, well, maybe, like I said, it's in the eye of the beholder. So whereas I think weeds are bad, they're thinking they have a really good year going. And in some cases, yeah, they're right. They're totally right. We always need to have things that kind of reality check us and say, hey, you need to try harder, or you may need to spend a couple more hours in the week weeding or fertilizing or putting down weed barriers. So when I was a woman of vision for this beautiful garden full of weeds behind me, I did a little experiment. And my little experiment was, let's do straw on this half of the garden, this half over here, and let's do mulch right here on this side of the garden. So I feel like I dropped the ball on applying more straw. So here's what the rows behind me look like where the straw is supposed to be. You can see the straw. The straw will benefit me in the long run, but I didn't apply it enough because I was busy or lazy or tired or nursing a sick animal. But you guys can see back, maybe you can see the walkways are pretty clear in there where the mulch was, but you look at my watermelon mounds. They're mounds of weeds. I even have a bucket of weeds over here. that I pulled and haven't gotten out of here yet. So some of the really bad stuff. I did not keep up on weeds. Sometimes you just bite off more than you can chew. I bit off more than I can chew, but I'm learning, and I'm kind of weeding out what works for me and what doesn't work for me. Straw with multiple applications does not work for me. Natural dark mulch works for me. So the bad was I let weeds get out of control. Yeah, I let weeds get out of control. That is the bad. That is the bad. So now to the ugly, because guys, there's some ugly in this garden. Wasn't pretty, was it? It's pretty ugly. So I had some problems with bugs this year. I usually don't have as many problems with bugs like I did this year. And I want to say it's because it's been so hot here. And while our winter wasn't that bad and didn't really kill back a lot of those egg counts that were in our soil and trees and branches and hiding in wood piles, we had a couple late frosts, but it just doesn't seem like it stunted the bugs. It really weirded out the plants' growing seasons this year. Like blackberry should have come at the earliest of July, like around the 4th, and they're just now coming in. So my zinnias usually don't come up until late August. They've been in bloom for a month now. I never have sunflowers this early in the year, and I have lots of sunflowers. Sorry about the lighting, guys. Now, why do I have a problem with bugs? And I guess the answer to that is, now that I'm a beekeeper, I'm a lot more conscientious about what I'm putting on my plants, because I don't want to hurt my bees. I want them to pollinate. I need them over here to pollinate and grow food for me. So the bugs destroyed cauliflower, broccoli, and my kohlrabi. They just really like those cold weather crops. And while I got some cauliflower from like my regular cauliflower, the decorative purple didn't come through. The decorative, like geometric shape looking broccoli didn't come through. I got one head of regular broccoli, so they look really ugly because of the bugs. And I mean, I've been using neem oil and everything for that, but in order for that to work, you really need to be out here like every single day tending. And in early spring, I could do that, but when 4-H season rolls around and we've got other projects popping up around this time of summer, I kind of rotate my attention away from my garden. And it's gonna help a lot more now because Joe's getting old enough to help me out here, hopefully, maybe, without too much teeth pulling. And I might be able to give them a little bit more attention, but those are my uglies. And I think they're pretty ugly, but my bees got to come over here and pollinate my plants without getting hurt. So we just got done talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly in the garden, but we're in a little bit of a homestead here, or hobby farm, however you want to look at it. And with this lifestyle, there's still a lot of good, bad, and ugly. And of course, I'm going to start with the good, because I like to always try to first look at the bright side of things before I start looking at the bad and ugly stuff. So one of the good things about being on a homestead, it just feels really wholesome. There's like this connection to the earth that I don't feel like a lot of people get to feel. And the reason for that being is we tend livestock, we grow a garden, we really care about our property, what's going on our property, the health of our property, the impact that we're having on our land. And another really good thing that I really love about this lifestyle that we're living, being on a homestead, is that there's a lot that pushes you towards creatively solving your problems. It's not just you have a square hole, so you need to find a square peg. Sometimes you don't have a square peg and there's no way for you to get a square peg. So you have to kind of make the situation work to where it's beneficial in all approaches. And that's a life skill that I feel like a lot of people don't get anymore, that it's not really practiced. And you'll see it in the corporate world. We talk about it a lot, about like creative problem solving and leaning down a process to where the workflow moves easily. It's the most bang for your buck with the least amount of impact and work. And living on our property in the way that we do, I really have found that it pushes us to really lean into those practices in much more creative ways, and sometimes in the most simple of ways. Because simple is not always bad, guys. Sometimes a simple solution is better than a solution that it took you days and days to think out and around. So I love that I'm raising Josie here. I love that Mark and I are setting an example for her, and that we have the ability to live this life and to teach her how to grow her own food and how to be self-sufficient and how to be confident and unafraid of things that might seem unfamiliar, or where you're being pushed outside your comfort zone because you're not really sure if you'll be successful. Because you should never not step into something because you think you're not going to be successful. Even if you fail, it's a tool for the next experience. It's teaching you about the next experience that's coming your way, and there's something wonderful about that. One of the other really good things is that deep understanding for life. We have dairy goats, chickens, turkeys, guineas. We just lost our llama. So life and death coexist on a homestead, especially if you have animals. Even if all you do is plant a garden, life and death of your plants can really impact your life. But it also teaches you how to treasure life and how to preserve it and make sure that the things in your care have the best life that they possibly can. A good life for a pepper plant is yielding a lot of peppers. It's good for it, it's good for you, it's good for the environment, it's good for your local wildlife, it's good for a lot of things. So those are just some of the really good things. I love watching life come into the world. Raising dairy goats, in order for them to produce milk, they must first be bred and then kid out, and we allow the mothers to have their babies at their side, but we also milk them for our own sustenance to make cheese, yogurt. We drink our raw milk. It really is just awesome to see that cycle and how we can coexist with it and not sometimes just farm it into the ground. And that's just something really awesome that I don't think a lot of people get to see. But so with the good, there's bad. So what is the bad? There's poop. There's a lot of poop on a homestead. And while poop is great, poop is wonderful, sweet, sweet poops, the poop never lies, it's really gross to handle. It's so gross to handle. But it's good. It feeds and I guess, you know, again, this can be in the eye of the beholder, because while I dislike handling poop, it really helps me out in the long run. It feeds my plants, makes me the best compost ever. It opens a doorway for my animals to see what their current health is, because you can tell a lot about the health of your livestock just by examining their poop, whether it's you or taking it to a veterinarian for a fecal sample. But that's some of the bad. And the bad is not feeling like there's ever enough time in a day. It gets old feeling like you are never done, like the jobs are never done. And if that's something that's important to you, where you have to feel like your day is complete and the job is complete and you can rest and that's the only way you can rest, homesteading, hobby farming, it's not for you. Don't do it, because it never stops. It never stops. And there are times where it just sucks feeling you don't have enough time in a day. It sucks feeling like you were productive but it wasn't enough, because tomorrow has a whole new slew of jobs and a whole new slew of chores that have to be done. And I find that bad. It's a bad feeling for me. I want to have about 24 more hours in a day. Then I might feel like I could probably catch up around here. But yeah, that's some of the bad stuff. That poop, lack of time, and really like this lifestyle will take over a lot of other things in your life. And the ugly. I love watching life come into the world, but I despise participating in its transition to death. We just lost our llama. We just lost our guardian livestock, Gunther, who was a llama, who was fantastic. He was a very special animal, and he wasn't the first animal that I've watched slip out of the world. It wasn't the first animal that I've cradled in weak moments, knowing that I'm making them just comfortable enough to leave the world, to leave my presence and move on into the next stage of life. Death sucks. It's so necessary though. Like, we're moving towards it right now. While we're watching this video, we're both transitioning from life to death, and that might be super morbid, but that is an ugly part of enjoying life sometimes, is that every second you're enjoying is another moment taken from life and given over to death. So that is the ugly part of homesteading to me. I know it's necessary, it's natural, it happens to all of us. Nobody escapes it, but it's so ugly to watch things slip away. It is so ugly to watch things slip away. And for us here on a homestead, especially raising livestock, death is ugly. Everything else I can handle, the bad I can handle, and in all honesty, the good always outweighs the bad on a homestead, for me at least. I know that there are moments where I question and wonder, why do I do this to myself? Why do I put this effort in to see things die? Why do I put this effort in to see no yield, or a whole slew of other things that come into your mind? But in the end, really, it's worth it. It's 100% worth it to me. So guys, I think that's going to do it for us today here on Mulberry Branch Farm. Thank you once again to Hidden Oaks Homestead for tagging us. If you guys are interested in seeing this entire collaboration, I really want to encourage you to go over to CJM Farm. That's who created this collaboration. It all started with them, and I think a lot of us can say thank you, because it really is nice just to see a lot of us get together and give our own perspectives on what we think is good, what's bad, and what's ugly. And I think it gives everybody a new respect for one another too, because it shows your hardships are not the same as somebody else's, or you might learn that your hardship isn't so unique. And sometimes misery loves company, let's just be honest, and it's comforting to know other people also struggle with what you struggle with. But with that comes resilience and the ability to adapt and overcome, because odds are they're doing the same thing. So with that being said, guys, thanks so much for being here with us today. I hope you enjoyed the good, the bad, and the ugly collaboration. I'm going to have some links down in the description below for CJM Farm, along with Hidden Oak Homestead, and hopefully I'll be able to get a playlist put up with a bunch of other people's the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that if you liked kind of this format and you want to see what other homesteaders or gardeners said, hey, you have free access, go ahead, visit them. We encourage it. So until next time, guys, if you wanted to keep up with me, my little farm, and my little family here on Mulberry Branch Farm, you can follow us on Facebook or Instagram. But until then, we'll see you in the next one.